Hi, my name is Spencer, Spencer. I learned ASL for 1 month at Augustana University. That's probably all that I can say in sign language, as I took the intro class in January for J-term class. For ASL 110, it was the only class available for me at the time when I registered. I thought, wow, sign language sounds kind of boring, but I might as well take it, get my language credits out of the way. My professor, I learned the first day, was completely deaf. She could only communicate with us through sign language or writing on the board. She taught us so much about deaf culture. For instance, it's very rude to watch someone sign with another person. If you're not included directly in the conversation or the communication, you are not supposed to watch, because Tanya, our professor, compared it to a hearing person walking up to two people having a private conversation and listening to what they were saying. There's other rules or guidelines that deaf culture follows. The healthcare interactions with deaf culture article, two doctors wrote some rules. I think there were 10 rules saying, what doctors should do when they have a deaf patient. Rule number 1 was no secrets. No secrets meaning if a nurse comes in and you start communicating with the nurse verbally, you are supposed to sign while you talk, so the deaf person knows what you're saying. Otherwise, it's considered very rude to talk without signing. Tanya taught us this. She told us not to talk at all for the entire J-term class, because she knew that we would learn more, and she knew that it was very rude for a hearing person to talk in front of a deaf person without signing. I had a personal experience with this at work 2 weeks ago. A kid was signing with his dad, and I was confused because I didn't think the kid was deaf, because I swore I heard him talk. So when the kid was walking on the docks, I went up to the dad and I asked, "Hey, are you signing with your kid?" He goes, "Oh yeah, my son, he's deaf." So I mentioned that I learned ASL for 1 month at Augustana, and he told me to go over to his son and start signing whatever I could. So I went up to him, I asked how he was, I told him my name, and I learned that he was 15 years old and that he was born deaf. As soon as I started signing with him, his face just lit up and he seemed ecstatic to just communicate with me. And it kind of blew my mind, because I didn't know so many people, suffer from hearing loss or are completely deaf. I learned that 10% of the American population suffers from hearing loss or is completely deaf, where their cochlear implants can't work. Some reasons to learn ASL. ASL is the 3rd most popular language in the U.S. It's growing. It's gaining on Spanish and English right now. Quick Stats on Hearing website says you can have your salary increased by 2% for learning Spanish, no matter what. But they also said if the language is not as popular or abundant in places, for instance in the U.S., as sign language, your salary will increase more. Bilingualism, which is learning 2 languages, boosts your thinking ability. You can listen better, and you can solve problems easier. Many people can argue that bilingualism can be, gained from learning Spanish or Chinese. But with ASL, you gain bimodalism, which increases your spatial awareness. It's more visual. It increases your visual sensitivity, so you're more aware of your surroundings. Another reason to learn ASL is that babies learn sign language easier or sooner. So if a baby is under a year, they can sign language or show you what they want, for instance, hungry or something. An article in the Huffington Post says, because babies develop basic motor functions before they are able to verbally communicate, knowing certain signs can help children express their wants or needs, which saves a lot of frustration for parents. To conclude, ASL bridges a gap between two cultures, hearing and non-hearing. Since obviously deaf people can't learn English or Spanish, it's our duty to learn sign language for the sake of their culture. A couple points: you can communicate with 10% of Americans, you can increase your salary, you increase your perceptive skills, and if you use sign language for your child, they have a better way to learn new languages. So it's in fact easier for them to learn new languages than it's for people that don't study sign language. And to close, in my sign language class, there were a couple adults that were there. I thought they were non-traditionals, but in fact they were strictly taking the sign language class because they felt the need to just at least learn some sign language to talk with anybody. If the adults in my class feel the need to learn sign language, why not us students that are in college and have the ability to take classes, especially when we need to take language classes anyways. Thank you.